All right, guys, welcome back, man, to another edition of the Sim Standard podcast. Of course, I'm your host, SimFBallCritic, along with the host, Smitty, as well as AzureEffect. You know, if Azure is able to make it tonight, guys, y'all already know he has, a lot of other things going on, life stuff. So sometimes he's able to make it, sometimes he's not. All right, so either way, we're gonna make it do what it do. And we're going to have a great show, man. We got a nice show lined up for you guys tonight. Pretty good topics, and in my opinion, as well as we're going to have a guest come on. Not really sure how long. I mean, it's open for him, however long he wants to come on. Some of you guys may know of him as Madden Universe on Twitter. But basically, we're going to bring him on, and we're going to have him talk from the competitive, Madden side of things as far as that style of play. Because one of the topics, guys, that we want to address tonight is we want to address, being able to bridge the gap between competitive and sim style Madden players. It's going to happen, but we'll get more into that, as we get further along in the show. And, we'll basically tell you guys what that's all about. But let me definitely go ahead and welcome you guys to the show and let you know exactly what we'll be talking about tonight outside of that as well, in no particular order. But here are the tentative topics. We always say tentative, guys, because sometimes you guys shape the topics. Sometimes you change the topics based on what you're talking about in the chat. And since it is a community show, we always oblige that. So basically, guys, competitive Madden community, is it the new face of Madden? That's a question that Smitty and I will address. We'll answer that, and we look forward to seeing what you guys have to say in regards to that. Also, right along those lines, like I just previously said, how can we bridge the gap between sim and competitive Madden players? We'll also go further into that as far as is that needed and why. So that's when we'll have Madden Universe come on. We also want to talk about Russell Westbrook in his fourth quarter fiasco, I guess I'll call it. We'll leave it at that. We'll dive into that. And also, there was a question presented by Operation Sports earlier today via Twitter, where they said, can online franchise be a selling point for Madden? I believe they were talking specifically for Madden. It was the gist of that of what I caught, but I guess you could say that about all gaming companies as far as sports. But we'll talk specifically Madden. All right. Also, guys, I want to talk about Reuben Foster failing the drug test. And we want to talk about the bad decisions that are made by these pro athletes and, projected pro athletes, and how that may hurt his stock, as well as, how we feel in general about players that get caught up in a type of rigmarole. I know that's a random word, guys, but that's something that my father used to say all the time. So that's why I said it. But that's what we have for you guys tonight, man. So again, we look forward to diving into these topics. We welcome all of you guys who will come in, show up here on the show. Right now, it doesn't look like a whole lot of people are tuned in yet, but that seems to happen every week. You guys start tuning in as the show progresses. But first and foremost, like we do every single time, we're going to give you our quick introductions. So I'll throw it to Smitty. How was your week, man? And, anything that you may have on your mind outside of the topics that we will be covering.
No, week was good, man. Really don't have much to say, but what I will say though is that from looking online, when you say gonna have Madden Universe on, and shout out to him, whenever he comes through, I wouldn't be too surprised if PX1 jump in there too, seeing how it's excuse me. I just say with Twitter, it's been a lot of action going on. Some good topics have been brought up. Good amount of action going on as far as people talking and everything, communicating, having these discussions, competitive and CFM alike, that I'm seeing here, and partook in a little bit, but just taking a look at some of these things going on. And yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Like, this is the kind of interactivity we need to see, especially when we're talking about stuff like franchise and everything. There definitely needs to be a big push on that. So I know, and we're going to definitely dive into that. So I'll withhold for now, but I'm just saying that, I'm liking the interactivity. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the people, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. But I mean, outside of that, you got the NFL schedules, what I'm saying, coming out. Not really a huge deal to me because at the end of the day, excuse me, it's all about who can stay healthy as far as the core team for the longest period. Because it doesn't matter what a matchup you have if you got core players that are missing when it comes time to that matchup. See what I'm saying? So when players are healthy and they're able to sustain and they're not going down to, practice injuries and preseason games or during the regular season, if they're able to hold up and perform, then we can, then I really will be able to get excited for marquee matchups and things like that. So we'll see. We'll see what unfolds from there. But got the playoffs going on. And, like I said, we're going to dive into some of that stuff as well about Westbrook, So we got just a lot of good stuff going on with sports. So it's awesome. And then also as well, just thought about it. If you haven't got your tickets yet and you are going to be in that Hollywood area in June 10th through the 12th, get your ticket for EA Play now. They're free tickets. Go online and register. I've been retweeting it multiple times, and it's been tweeted out many times. Go get your ticket. Get your free ticket for whichever day you're going to be attending or whatever. Get your ticket and definitely be there. You know what I'm saying? See what's going on with the games, interact with the devs, all that good stuff. All right?
Yes.
So I strongly encourage that if you're able to.
Yes.
So, because you know what, and I'll just say this real quick, Sam. The main thing we hate seeing is like when you got people that have the opportunity to interact with these devs and then you don't, only to fall back, and then you're on Twitter and you're on videos like mine, Sims, and others saying all kinds of things in terms of how you personally feel when you have an opportunity to interact with them directly and you just bypass it. This is really one of the key opportunities to really jump on that. So we strong, I'm pretty sure the Sim will co-sign, strongly encourage you, if you're able to make it out there, or if you're already in that area, definitely attend. All right. So I'll throw it to you, Sim.
Yeah, man, just to hit on that point that Smitty made real quick. This is your opportunity, especially since, I'll breeze across this slightly because y'all know I don't like to give stuff the time of day. But especially since, even till this day, it's still one or two individuals that say, oh, they sellouts, they can't say this, they can't say that. Well, you do it. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're going to be there, this is your chance to ask your own questions. You ain't got to rely on Sim or Smitty or Azure or whoever else that is, quote unquote, connected to EA. I encourage all of you guys who will see this tonight, will see this on the archive. You're planning to go to EA Play for whatever reason. If it ain't got nothing to do with Madden, if it ain't got nothing to do with NBA Live, if you're going for Battlefront or whatever the game may be that you want to see, talk to the developers. They're there. They're right there in front of your face. They're receptive. You have the ability to talk to them. You get your hands on the game, quick demo. Do it. So you can stop relying on us, because we so biased. You know what I'm saying? So I strongly encourage that, man. But yeah, there you go. I don't really have nothing else, I don't think, outside of the topics. We want to jump right into them. Just to give everybody a heads up, we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook first. Then right after that, we'll jump into the competitive Madden thing, and we'll get Madden Universe here on. So here in a moment, man, I'll shoot you the invite so you can come on. I'm trying to think, guys, if there's anything else I wanted to speak on outside of the topics. Not necessarily. Not really going to talk Steelers anything tonight. The draft is coming up. I'll be doing that very soon. I'm going to be doing my own mock draft, which I'm just taking a shot in the dark. We know how those things work. I'm probably could only mock through draft, through the fourth pick in terms of players. After that, I don't know. I ain't that deep into it, but I've been looking at a couple of guys that I think, based on mocks and who I expect to be there at certain times, I probably can get through about 3 to 4 picks of actual people that I think that the Steelers have a chance at getting. Outside of that, I know a lot of times some of you guys always ask me, man, what do you be drinking when you're on the show? A lot of times it's water. Sometimes it's something a little special. Now this here tonight, I'll show it to you guys. See the color of that? This is something absolutely a little special. You know, I have a cousin in Virginia, you know, live in the countryside of things. He makes his own wine, right? Now he likes to call this the grown man wine because it's not that dainty wine. You know, sometimes people don't really feel, you know, I don't know how to express it, but some people don't really feel like wine is, you know, a drink that, you know, that you can drink on a regular basis. I'm telling you right now, this one, yeah, it's not the little dainty wine. It's not that, you know, you're mingling, you know, with the upper echelon type of wine. No, this is knock you out. So that's what I'm rocking tonight. So there you have it. So, all right, guys, let's jump right into the topic. Smitty, I'm going to throw it to you first.
Sim out here drinking moonshine.
Yeah. You know, something like that. But it's actually wine, though. You see the color, guys. See that? It's nice little grape flavor. But it'll put you under this table. All right. Got to throw it to you first, Smitty, because I got to hear your thoughts. I don't want to lead you in one direction. I'm just going to throw it out there. Not sure if you watched the game, but even if you didn't, you were able to see enough highlights to understand what happened last night. OKC versus the Rockets. How you feel about that fourth quarter, Smitty?
I mean, I didn't like it, like you said, you know, I didn't get to catch the entire game, you know, but Russell Westbrook shot the team out of the game pretty much. And, you know, this is the intriguing thing about the playoffs. This is just like, when I talk about the NFL playoffs, when you got the wild cards and you got the divisional rounds and all that stuff and the championship games, because all the happenings that people complain about in regards to football, it's different when you got all these different games playing all over the place versus when it's just the playoffs. And now everybody that turns on the NFL is watching the exact same game. They're not watching the game that's local, whatever. It's just that game. You can really zero in and focus in on that particular player or players or team or whatever in terms of how they operate and function. Now, Westbrook doing what he did, he was doing this kind of stuff all year, and he got nothing but praise for it. See what I'm saying? But look, this is the intriguing thing. Now, it's in a playoff setting. All the lights are on these few teams, these particular matchups. Hey, tonight, you want to watch the NBA? In this time slot, you got OKC playing against the Rockets. You don't have the Pistons playing over here, the Sixers playing over there, the Bulls playing over there. You got Milwaukee over here. You got Phoenix playing too, all in the exact same time slot. So your attention can be pulled away. It's all focused in right here. So this is the kind of show that Westbrook has been putting on all year and has been getting mad praise for. He's averaging a triple-double and all that. Yeah, but he's got to take an absurd amount of shots to do that. Sometimes, not every single night, but he's taking a lot of shots. And I mean, he says he does, like, look, I would say he's got a better supporting cast, in my opinion. He's got a better supporting cast than the Pistons do. So when he comes with the vibe of I don't have anybody, I can't believe that. And I don't believe that. You got Doug McDermott. He's a very good three-point shooter.
He was playing very well last night, I might add. He was playing well.
He was, he was 3 of 4 from 3. He was in the fourth quarter, had multiple, like good 3, maybe 4 wide open looks. What did Westbrook do? Take the ball, do his own thing. He's been doing the same thing all season. He takes the ball, does his own thing at times, because I see even in highlights, I see dudes, he could have passed it out for 3. He could have dished it off for somebody for a dunk. He could have did all that. Nope, I'm going to take it up myself. So when he does all that stuff, we ooh and ah over it and be like, hey, you know what? He could pass it, but they win it. Now, the thing I was saying and how I was feeling from the very beginning of the season was him doing this, him getting the ultimate green light is going to cost him because he's running and running and running and running, but he's the only one running. Now, when you got a playoff series and you've been playing since what, October, late October, early November, you've been playing the exact same way all season. Mm-hmm. You're not just about to switch it off just like that, and now you got a whole new game plan. It's not going to work like that. That's what the regular season is for you to build that up. So that fourth quarter is just a tale of what's going on across the entire board. See what I'm saying? Because excuse me. Because he's been doing this exact thing all year. Now Houston can focus. They could focus on it. They're like, we could play team ball, but we could focus, and that's the whole thing. Like what Shannon Sharp said on Undisputed. They just got to weather the storm. See, it's like when our championship Pistons in 2004 played against the Lakers. Oh, okay, yeah, we could let Kobe and Shaq. We're gonna play our defense on Kobe. We're gonna play our defense on Shaq and do the best job we can. But we're gonna make the rest of their team beat us. And they couldn't because they relied so much on Shaq and Kobe. It was like, oh, they're so dominant. But it was all about Shaq and all about Kobe. Now, when you single them out and say, well, we're gonna play you one-on-one, but you two are not going to outscore the 7 to 10 of us. At least, yeah, like they were at least 10 deep in rotation. But yeah, you're not going to beat us that way. They could do the exact same thing against OKC. And the other thing you got to remember is this. OKC doesn't have the stellar defensive front. So it's not like they're about to just shut everything down. So when you got Russell trying to shoulder the entire load and run away with it, it's gonna be taxing. That's what you took 46 shots and got 51 points. 46. You nearly shot as many times you nearly had as many shot attempts as you did actual points. That's ridiculous. Like, you should never, ever have that many attempts. And you came away with the loss on top of that. Yeah, I got this triple-double, but we lost. Yeah, and you took an absurd amount of shots. That tells it all right there. But like I said, and I'll throw it to you. It's not people are going to be alarmed. And of course, sports writers, ESPN, all that, of course they're going to focus in on it because, it's sports. It's their job. It's what they're supposed to do. But this has been going on all season. If I were to pull up stats right now and look at Russell Westbrook's game log, you think I won't find a game where he had a retarded amount of shot attempts?
Oh, yeah. Not too long ago. Like within the last few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, there was some crazy games like that.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So, I'll throw it to you, Sim, but I'm gonna take a quick look here, and I'll bring up some numbers. But
yeah, man,
go ahead, man. What you think, man?
I'll preference it with this, just so everybody knows where I'm coming from. I always say this. I have a lot of favorite players. And Charles Barkley is one of my all-time favorites. Obviously Jordan is everybody's favorite, but I got a couple players for different reasons. I always say Allen Iverson is probably one of my favorite players of all time, if not the favorite. And reason why I'm saying that, and I'm not saying he's better than Jordan or nothing like that, but it's just the same way I look at boxing. When I look at pound for pound and what that dude gave every night, and he was the truth. And the reason why I'm saying that is Russell Westbrook is also Allen Iverson's favorite player because of that reason. He sees a lot of himself in him as far as the tenacity. Here's the difference. Allen Iverson at times would go off like that and hog the ball or whatever, but he was much more efficient when he did it. Not saying that excuses him, but if you're going to do that, you got to be on fire. You have to be on fire. But let me get specifically to Russell Westbrook. It's like Smitty said. The reason why this year has been so phenomenal in terms of how everybody is looking at it, and the reason why, we're all saying that, yeah, he's probably the front runner for MVP. It's very close, though. I can clearly see it being Harden also. But the reason why is because we haven't seen Russell Westbrook that's getting that many assists and involving his team so much. He started to do it much more, ironically, when Kevin Durant leaves. But do y'all remember all those years with Kevin Durant? Do y'all remember how crazy? Y'all probably remember me even saying this a few years back. Man, Russell Westbrook is a gift and a curse. Like when he's on, he was on. But Smitty remembers this. I used to criticize Russ so much for the bad decision making. Like, why did he shoot that? And he turned back into that guy last night in the fourth quarter. Now, got to say this, Smitty, because I watched the whole game. What did actually happen, though? They tried to take him out the game late in the third quarter. You know how they give people a breather. They were up. Trying to remember the exact numbers. They was up like 14 or 12 or something like that with like 2 minutes left. It was really close to the fourth quarter. The daggone Rockets went on a run, like a 10-0 run, 11-0 run, something like that, and cut it all the way down to 3. So bad to where you saw Westbrook telling the coach, like, man, just put me back in the game. That shifted the tide. They had that game under control, Smitty. By the third quarter, they was playing. They started the game well. They started off the game. They was 16. The score was 16-4. Like they was on, sharing the ball. McDermott was hitting shots. They was doing their thing. He's getting Adams involved, getting Tosh Gibson involved. But here's the problem. Outside of McDermott, like realistically, he ain't got no help, man. Now, I agree with what you said. His supporting cast is probably a little better than the Pistons. But I have to acknowledge that, man, if you would have watched that game, where's Victor Oladipo? When is this guy going to prove that he can still play? I haven't seen it all year. He's supposed to be the second man, right? Robinson don't give you much. As far as offense, we all know that even though in game 1 he was hitting 3-pointers, a freak occurrence. Taj Gibson should be getting off a little more, and he wasn't. It's kind of like I said, when they took him out the game and they had a few bench players in there, a couple starters, Smitty, it looked so bad. Like people, I know I was. I'm looking at the game like, wow. Is all of that happening because one guy is not on the court? So what did that end up doing to him? Put him back into that me mentality. Not saying that he's selfish, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. Me is terms of like, I'm going to will us back. I'm going to get us back. And the man shot them out of the game, Smitty. He took 18 shots in the fourth quarter alone. It was a sequence where he took 13 straight shots. At one point, Smitty, the dude was just letting the play clock go down. Like, I'm like, bruh, give it up. And even if you don't necessarily trust your teammates, give them a chance. This is the NBA. At least if you're doing your part, at least everybody will look at it like, okay, he ain't got no help. We give you a pass. But the way he made it look, I honestly, man, I heard Kenny Smith say this. I honestly agree with Kenny when he said that's the worst performance I've ever seen by Russell Westbrook as far as fourth quarter. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. And mind you, we all know the Russell Westbrook of old that used to jack up shots, not like he did last night. It's like he lost his mind. It was like he was out there playing one-on-one. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But I have to agree with what Smitty said, man. I'm not taking his triple-double average for the season away. None of that. I love Russell Westbrook for the same reasons why I love Allen Iverson. But I got to call it out when it needs to be called out. That performance was horrendous. You can't do that. And I know some people are trying to give him a pass and say, well, he don't have no help. And I agree with that. But at the same time, you can't do it like that. At least get it off of you. You know, CYA, like they say. At least put them in position, and then if they blow it, then it looks like, man, he ain't got no help. We all feeling sorry for you. Now, the storyline is Russell Westbrook had no trust in his teammates, tried to force the game, and shot the team out of a chance of winning. Because remember, it still ended up being just a 4-point difference. I mean, they had that game in the bag. Wait, time out. Let me slow myself down. Ain't never in the bag when you got starting on the other side.
Right.
But if they would have maintained and they would have kept playing the way they were playing, they probably would have won the game, bro. And he shot him out the game. But what else you got on this, Smitty? And before Smitty jumps in, just to let you guys know, we're about to start the next topic in regards to bridging the gap between sim players, competitive players. We'll have Madden Universal on the line, Well, on the Hangout, which he's actually on right now. So we'll let him introduce himself properly here in just a moment. But go ahead, Smitty, if you want to wrap up this topic.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick. What's the name? Oladipo. Well, first thing, Russell, the most shots he had during the regular season, it's just regular season, was 44 shot attempts. Mm-hmm. And that was back in October. So that was literally out the gate. Like the first or second game of the season where he had 44 shot attempts, and then he had 40 from there and in the 30s primarily. So, but the other thing too is, once again, when you say you ain't got no help on the floor, like, it's hard for me to agree with that, even though, yes, is Victor Oladipo playing to maximum potential and everything? No, he's not. But he averages 16 points a game.
Yeah.
I mean,
he did hit a three last night, late in the game. So he's capable. He just won't play in that good.
Right. Excuse me. And the other thing is that your main contributors are, like I said, you got Inez Kanter, Steven Adams, Taj Gibson, Andre Robertson, Doug McDermott. Are these guys, and they got the Sabonis kid. Like, do they have guys that can contribute? Yes. You even got Ilyasova. He can give you some stuff too. But how are these guys supposed to give you something when you have a guy that's taking an absurd amount of jump shot attempts every night on purpose? Coach gave him free reign to do what he wants. So if coach just says, all right, guys, look, this is a game plan. We're going to let Russell do his thing, but I want you to be efficient. No, you got to actually run stuff through somebody else. You can't just run everything through him. That's like the Bulls running everything through Jordan. Well, we're just going to give it to Jordan and everybody fall back. Like, no. You can't do that and then just say, well, they should be good. Because that's the case that Jordan would always say. He would have said they could have got Paxson. He could have been running with Pippen and all these other Horace and everybody. And he still would have said, man, I ain't got no help. Because she's shouldering the whole freaking load by himself.
Right.
Purposely. So that's why I can't buy into the whole notion that he has nobody to help. No, he has people there. It's not like we can't put Russell Westbrook in the frame of a Jason Kidd and act like he's got that kind, like he's dishing the ball out like that and nobody's ever converting. Like, no, it's not. That's not the whole picture. You got to actually build your team up. That's what true point guards do. You build your team. This guy's not a builder. He's a scorer. And that's been bona fide proven. So but that's pretty much all I got on that, man.
The last little thing I'll say, it was sad to watch, man, because like you said, and when I say, just so everybody know, when I say no help, I'm talking about individually, like per that game. Those dudes weren't giving him much, but he didn't give them the opportunity. That's what I mean. Early on in the game, he was spreading it around a little bit, still jacked up a lot of shots, but it was like absurd in the fourth quarter. So that's just our thoughts on that. But moving on, guys, man, probably the most popular topic here tonight, what we definitely want to talk about, man, is we're we need to try to bridge the gap, guys, and we're going to explain why and give our opinions with the competitive Madden community or freestyle players, whatever you want to call it, and the simulation crowd. We'll discuss why that needs to happen, how we think it can happen, and to help us with that discussion, guys, like I said before, he's known on Twitter as Madden Universe. We have him here on the show tonight. We also will kind of talk about how, or do we feel, or is the competitive Madden gamer the new face of Madden? So that's definitely what we're going to be talking about. I'm pretty sure this will be a great discussion. We want you guys to, join in as well in the chat and let us know your thoughts. But without further ado, man, Madden Universe, what's up, man? Definitely go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on, Sim? I go by Relly843. Madden Universe on my Twitter handle. That's basically just for my website.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, I just wanted to hit you up. As you know, I reached out to you last week. I feel like it's getting worse and worse as far as between the sim community, the competitive freestyle community, tournament community, YouTube community. And I feel like we all need to start looking at what we have in common more so than what we see the difference in. Because I think if people start to really look at that, they'll begin to understand that we have a lot more in common than they really realize. And we have a lot of the same wants out of the game. So, I mean, that's where we want to go. I mean,
Absolutely, man. Just to kick it off a little bit, and Smitty, you can come in right after me. We definitely want to hear your thoughts as well, because I've been telling the people this for the longest time. It started with me and Smitty when we got the opportunity to get down with EA and become game changers, et cetera, and we was able to meet guys like Gibbs and Falls. Now, it used to be a time where we looked at Gibbs and Falls and their style of play, we frowned on it. And then slowly, even before I met them, I started realizing, look, it's a game. I can't tell somebody how to play it. I have to realize that my preference is my preference. I can have an opinion on whether or not it's real football, but you can't be mad at somebody for how they play a game. So I started losing that. But once I met them and learned from those guys verbatim, Farrells told me, honestly, Sim, the game shouldn't allow me to do that. We don't want that either, but if I can do it, I'm going to use it. It's in the game. I had to respect that. And those guys, believe it or not, I tell our crowd all the time, those guys are so instrumental in finding the bugs. Y'all have no idea how they talk behind the scenes. Like, these dudes straight up will tell the devs, like, man, that's just a Band-Aid. That ain't going to fix nothing, because once you do that, this is going to happen. Then when you do this, that's going to happen. You need to fix this. And I'm like, I had to step back. And I've met other people. I've had the pleasure of meeting guys in the, last year I met Problem. I've met Skimbo. I met Mo. They're good people. So outside of that, we have to realize this is just a game. I get it, but all of the bickering back and forth, we have to understand that it's our preference, just like it's some of you guys' preference to play the game the same way, yet you want the same details in the game. So I find that very interesting. Smitty, do you have anything you want to add to that before we allow him to respond to that?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head, but the main thing that I'll say though is that, like we said, when it comes to the core feedback in terms of getting the game right, like when we listen to the tournament gamers and everything, and we listen to guys like Zan, even especially,
right?
And these guys are posting stuff. When we do the whole whiteboard sessions and all that, these dudes post some stuff that I'm like, man, like Sim and I, AZ, we be looking like, yeah, we never would have put that up there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that never would have came from us. Like,
Zan is a sim head in disguise, though. I always tell him that.
Yeah,
he be lying to y'all.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the whole thing. But the thing is that the thing that leaves a sour taste in regards of it is because, because of how the game looks when these games are played. Because just like what my man's here said, we have the same kind of mindset as far as what we want in the game. Because, like, I spoke with Chappie before. I spoke with Chappie. I was speaking to Zan, speaking to Gibbs and Farrell, speaking to Books. These are cats I've met, got to talk with, break bread with. These dudes will talk football all day. But as soon as you pick them sticks up, football goes out the window and video game mindset comes in. That's the problem. That's where the disconnect is, because it's like, okay, how can I game the system so I can win? And I understand the money's on the line, but at the same time, football goes away. And Madden looks more video gamey than actual football. See what I'm saying? So that's why it's like you're having these games played in these football stadiums and everything, but you might as well have it at Dave and Buster's and have it there, because they're playing video game-esque. Like, they're not playing like the authenticity factor gets cut out just like that. So that's the whole thing that I have with it, and that's why we always press it. It needs to feel like, okay, I gotta execute off of football principle. If I don't execute off of football principle instead of video game, I do these video game principles, I'm gonna lose. But I need those football principles. And the problem is, when these dudes play these tournaments, there's no injuries, there's no penalties. You're not being penalized for anything as far as what happens on the field. There's no real penalty to that in terms of what you actually see happen in the real world. Players go down due to injury. People, cause penalties that end up putting them in prime position to get field goals, to convert on touchdowns. It happens in real life. So it's like, it can't, but I understand with it being a video game, people don't want that to happen because then they feel cheated. But then if that's the case, then that's when I would start looking at player traits. And see, that's the kind of stuff that where you got to pay attention to how you build your team. What kind of players do you get? Do you want to get that maxed out, juiced up player that may have the penalties that don't favor him? So you can use him, but he may get you in some trouble because of how he plays and the tendencies that he may have. That's the word, the tendencies I'm looking for. So that's the main thing. Those are one of the main things I should say that are really focusing on. So I'll throw it back to you though, Sim.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm curious to hear what my man has to say here. First of all, I guess I would want to hear how you feel about. You can share some of the things, like the things that you guys, or I don't want to just say you guys. I know we talked, and I know you said you could kind of be categorized that way. But some of the things that you would like to see that you share that Sim guys want, and how you feel when you hear that type of response from Smitty. How does that, how do you feel about that in general, as far as when guys like us to say, well, it makes the game look bad?
Actually, you're going to be surprised by this, especially with draft champions being so big and the randomization of it. And this year especially, when you just see the same thing over and over and over again, is not a good-looking product. And to hit on what you said, Sim, when you said behind the scenes, people sending stuff to the devs, I can't even tell you the amount of things that I've sent to Rex or Clint that I was like, I can't even put this out. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And a lot of these blitzes, like, for example, I'm just going to give the most obvious one, Nickel Blitz 2 this year, is actually built off of actual football concept. It's just a simple overload. The issue is we don't have the tools to pick it up. I think something like being able to spotlight your halfback to direct towards the blitzer that is coming would be a good scenario. instead of him being forced to play 2-1, meaning inside out.
Right.
One of the things a lot of people don't realize is they think we're just playing. We just know, oh, this is a video game. How can I cheat it? A lot of us know a lot about football. You look at, like you said, Zan.
Yeah.
You look at myself, Kilo from Madden Turf.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy Madden mind. Not only Madden mind, but football mind. Duke from Sports Gamers. There's a lot of other people, too, like that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Also, I think the lack of play diversity has to do now at a point. Sim, I'm sure you've been playing the game forever, man. Look at how many formations have been taken out.
Right. Yep.
And then just another example. This year, another big thing, dollar crossman.
Explain that to those who don't know who that is. Explain that, because I didn't mean to interrupt, but I recently got a tutorial on how that works. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. That ain't nothing that you probably would ever see in a real football game. Maybe.
That's actually false.
No, I was about to say, maybe somebody might do it. But
remember a couple years ago, the Broncos and the Seahawks Super Bowl, right?
Right.
You saw them play cover one, high safety most of the game, right?
Yeah.
With a robber in the middle, Cam Chancellor. Every time the Broncos ran those picks and the rub routes, they would switch the receivers off. Banjo coverage. We don't have that option in the game. So to replicate that, to stop crossing routes and things like that, we've been using crossman.
Yep.
Now, we've been using crossman for years. This year is just a lot more of a staple because cover 2 is the main defense played. Most of that being because in cover 3, you have the swerve issue. And you have the issue with the deep third safety not playing his correct role. So a lot of times, a lot of the things that people don't like seeing are an answer to a flaw that we find in the game.
Right. To
stop an offensive tactic. It's not necessarily sitting there thinking, oh, how can I cheat? How can I cheat? It's more of the mindset of you go in looking for football concepts. This works okay. And then you find out, oh, man, this works way better than it should. And then you got money on the line. That's why they switch from regular teams into tournaments. Because if you're playing for money, you're not playing with the Browns. I don't care if that's your favorite team.
I got you.
You understand what I mean? I mean, that's really what it breaks down to. And I would love to see more simulation-style football as well. And I'm sure a lot of Madden players would like that as well. And there's also, Sim, I'm sure you watched the VG tournaments when they were streamed and some of the older tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of players that disappear from year to year because they're good at one specific exploit that they find in the game. There's not a lot that are good from year to year to year. And the people who are good from year to year to year know how to merge that real football concept with Madden.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest divides we have is that a lot of the sim community and a lot of the competitive community think that we're out to get each other. Like it's a competition on who the devs like better. And I'm going to tell you right now, Rex actually tweeted me about 2 minutes ago and said he strongly believes that split competitive simulation tuning needs to happen to serve both communities. And you know, I told you this. I speak to them a good bit. You know, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much they really do listen and how much they really care. I can't go into too many details about certain things. You know how that goes, but I mean, they care. And the other thing is too, like, there's certain things, like I actually did a video earlier this year, and I'm not really a big YouTube person. If you remember when the motion speed glitch was in the game at the beginning of the year when they patched it. Remember, you can motion out a streak and you just take off.
Yeah.
Well, That was when Swerve was really bad because you could motion into the slot and you could just get that speed burst, and it's so quick. There's no way to react. I came straight out. Zan came straight out. A lot of people came straight out and said this is terrible. It's going to look awful on television. To the point that they patched the game 2 days before a tournament. So all I'm trying to say, man, is like I feel like the relationships need to start being built between the communities because we can't be sitting here fighting with each other constantly and then expect the devs to listen to the people who are sitting here cussing each other out all the time. And, you know, I heard Smitty say something about the conversation I was having with PX on Twitter.
Yeah.
A lot of things get, as they go further down, it starts to get lost and it gets randomized. You know what I mean? So it's like Twitter's not the best place to try to have a conversation because it starts off good and then it ends up being completely different from what you're saying. So, I mean, and I see Kia say, I'm not a believer of splitting up settings, fix the core issues. I agree with that to a certain extent, but until those core issues are fixed, that may be the best resolution.
I believe in splitting up settings because of what NHL did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And wait. And on top of that, MLB The Show, how they got it. So I can't agree with that whole notion that you can't do it and it won't work.
I'm not saying it won't work.
I mean, no. I'm not saying you're not saying that. But I'm just saying in general, like that's some of the stuff. Like, you know, I've been lobbying so hard for that whole separation and having, you know, excuse me, like how NHL has it, where you can pick the play style and pick what kind of experience you want. Like before you even start playing, I'm like, that's it. That's exactly because you know, I'm pretty sure you've seen it too, where people will be like, they need to make 2 separate games. I'm like, no, actually, that's essentially doing that. Picking your play style and picking the difficulty, like you tailor it with the controls.
Plus, disguise it, just to chime in real quick, then I'll throw it back to you. Disguise the cliches. Don't even tell them that they on all Madden, all pro. Don't tell them. Because that's what's wrong with a lot of people in this community. Definitely the sim crowd. Man, I'm all Madden all day. You ain't got no business on there. Because all Madden is not giving you an actual realistic challenge. Right. You know, you don't got to pump your chest out just because you can play all Madden. That ain't what I want. But go ahead, Smitty.
Right. No, that's what I was going to say. And like the dude saying about like Stack saying the core is set. I mean, we know that the core in Madden is not set, but what I'm saying though is segmenting those experiences because look, when Madden 17 came out, whether people want to agree with it or not, football was going on. Football was tight. The game was tight the way it was. Despite, I mean, yes, you had the stretch issue. You had issues in there, but the problem is that you had people complain about football happenings. And that's what's been going on for the past few years. Sim and I go down there to the studio, play it. Yo, this game's tight. It's got this, it's got that, blah, 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 whoop, whoop. Game comes out 4 weeks later, that game's gone. See what I'm saying? And it's like that experience is not the same. And then now we're trying to manipulate it with sliders all year.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like that's what we're talking about. And I mean, we're not saying it's solely the tournament guys. We're not saying it's just casual because there's even sim guys that be complaining, you know.
A bunch of sim guys. A bunch of them. I'm calling us out. Yeah.
Yep. Like there's I'll throw the quote fingers up on that because they say they want that challenge. And then as soon as they start to get that challenge, it's too much. Rex, they pulling on his pants leg and everything. You got to scale it back. It's too much. Like, no, that's football there, man. So that's why my thing is, if I'm competing, I mean, it's just the way I feel. And I mean, excuse me, I'm getting it mixed up. This is what when I watch tournaments, I watch the tournament play. it's like there's little to no regulation in terms of what you can do. I mean, I feel for Gibbs and Farles and AJ and RG and Scott and everything because they got to commentate Volterax. And not just him. Not just him. Look, not just him. But other dudes that are doing that similar stuff, though, that do that cheesy cheese. I mean, Volterax is blatant with it.
Yeah.
But the point is, they commentate on it like, oh, well, he's using that swerve strategy. And I'm like, that ain't strategy. That's cheating. But I mean, they got to commentate. So they're stuck, a hard place, man. Yeah, and it's like it like if there were rules in play, like this is something you got to do until the game is there, and the game regulates it automatically. You have to put rules in place against that kind of stuff, not just the blatant. Because I mean, look, this is the one thing. This is the one thing that I had said, and I said it last week. It's very ironic to see all these people get mad at Volterax for him using some cheesy, glitchy play when a lot of these dudes use cheesy and glitchy play to get ahead and win. I mean, it happens every single game. So it's like, but the thing is how you visually perceive it. What Volterax did looks like a blatant video game. It looks like some Super Mario Brothers Donkey Kong type stuff he did. But the other guys, though, it looks like more like a football thing. Like, I'm going to use this nickel 2 blitz. It's a football thing that's used, but you can use it as an exploit as a advantageous aspect. So it gives that football look. So it's okay. But technically it's not. See, so that's why I'm saying when Madden, until it gets to that place, it would be sweet if they're like, we know these are the issues. Okay, bet. This play is glitchy. This play is glitchy. This is a problem. That's a problem. Okay, so when you guys play in these club games or when you play these games or whatever, you can't do this, can't. Because we know that's a problem. And until it's updated, you're not allowed to use these plays. Then guess what? Now you got to actually game plan. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you got to play for money, you have to work for that. I'm gonna make you work for it. Lose your screen, and that's where I'm talking about. Turn on injuries, turn on penalties, because you got to pay attention to your players' tendencies and stuff like that. If you pick a guy, it don't matter if he's a 99 overall, whatever. If dude gets you in trouble because he's got some kind of trait that he's undisciplined on, sub him out. Now let's say you got that 99 left tackle and you got to sub him out for a guy that's 75, but he's disciplined. See what I'm saying? And you got JJ Watt or something like that he's lined up across from. Well, now you got to rethink your strategy. See, but the game ain't like that though in these tournaments. It's like no one gets hurt, nothing ever happens. It's basically NFL blitz rules. And you can't tell me that's legit to play for hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever. That wouldn't be legit for me. That's why I can't touch it. See what I'm saying? So that's my whole thing in that regard, man. That's why I feel like that.
Real quick, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna play Ernie Johnson tonight. I'm gonna let them do their thing. Yeah. I got just a real quick chime in because I want to make sure people caught this part. What Relly was saying earlier is a lot of these guys do know football. I think the mistranslation is when people of the sim community look at it, because a lot of people have been accused of doing this. When they watch it and they see the deficiencies of the game, and then they see the tourney guys using those things, then that's where they throw the whole, they don't know football. And y'all hear me say it all the time. Listen, man, I've met a lot of these guys. I can promise you they know football.
Yeah, they know
because a lot of these dudes got to know a little something to even understand what they're trying to create out of their coverage. But it's a thin line in my opinion, because if I'm gonna be the first one to say I'm as sim as they come, right? But if 50,000 was on the table, I'm gonna tell you what.
You running nickel blitz?
I'm running nickel blitz. I'm doing man across man every.
And I can't blame you. I can't blame you.
The game. It's the game. We got to stop beating up. Now, some of these guys, Don't get me wrong, because like my man said earlier, you know, I hate to pick on Volterax, but it's like he said earlier. He said, well, you notice, Sim, a lot of these guys are like one and dones. I was hearing from a lot of people, man, this dude is only in it because he's doing that. See what I'm saying? So it is an exception. There are some people who are able to capitalize by doing nonsense. But I really liked what you said, though, man, as far as, say this again, when you said why y'all do cross-manning. Because, see, even me, I was like, you don't see that in the NFL, but you do. It's replicated the right way. In Madden, you have to create that to even replicate passing off a guy. So I get it now. But go ahead, man. I know you wanted to respond to what Smitty was saying.
I should have got a notepad up. Nah, Smitty. Actually, I agree with probably about 80% of what you said.
All right.
Part of where we separate. First off, let's go ahead and get the Volterax thing out of the way. The swerve. Sim, have you ever seen another year where a tournament was played on All Pro?
I don't remember. I think so.
Or with any helpers on, period? Or you were disqualified back in the day? Is that not how it worked?
I can't even remember, to be honest.
Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you. If you had helpers on back in the day, you was disqualified. On All Madden, you can't swerve like that. And all of us, a lot of us have actually been saying to Matt Marku, and because this is out of the devs' hands, by the way, guys, as far as the rules.
Wait. Say that again. Say that one more time.
The tournament rules are completely out of the hands of the devs.
One more time.
The tournament rules are completely out of the hands of the devs.
Thank you.
They have nothing to do with it.
Thank you. Not everything the devs can control, guys. How long have we been saying that? Even in terms of what the game gets.
Same with Mutt. Same with Mutt. Has nothing to do with devs. There were certain things added to the games that devs might not have wanted in the game. I'm not going to go into specifics with that either. But when it comes to certain things as far as in-tournament play, there are certain penalties I believe should be on and some that should be off. Now, the problem with it is you don't want to end up with some random computer player causing you $100,000.
Yeah, I get it.
You understand what I mean? Now, however, say you throw a deep ball and I take my user and just push your receiver out of the way. I feel like pass interference should be called, but it's not. There's certain times where I think these things apply, and certain times where I think they don't. Injuries, I don't really know how to feel about that in a tournament setting, to be honest with you. Weather games, I definitely don't feel like, because like if you built your team as a passing team and then they throw you in a snow game in a tournament, that's not really going to tell you who the best player is, if you understand what I mean. It's just one of the biggest things, though, that I think we all have to come to terms with is not just the way it looks, but what the actual issue is with the game that separates the communities. Because, Smitty, you hit it on the head. When the game first came out, there was real football being played. And I think there was a major overreaction to the stretch. Major. People didn't want to take the time to learn how to defend it, how to use the fits, things like that. We've had overreactions in the past before Rex and Clint got there. If you remember, Sim, when we would move players up towards the line of scrimmage, which you see every game, every Sunday. And then Zan called it the magical hand of God that pulls him back off the line.
Yeah, I was actually there for that discussion. Actually, that's hilarious.
I disagree with that one, but especially at this point, they put NDS in. But I think a lot of the issues, especially with the O-line, D-line interactions and picking up outside blitzes, have to do with them trying to make pass protection easy enough for the casual player, but still make you have to do something.
Right.
And the problem is if they start making you pick your pass protection and pick out the mic, not only a lot of sim players, a lot of competitive players, and a lot of casual players are going to have 6 people just screaming right through the line of scrimmage because they have no idea what they're doing. I think that's a big problem too. So like I think the hardest thing is finding a medium between what works as a game and what's going to sell, because either way you look at it, whether you look at the simulation community or the competitive community, they have more knowledge than the average person who just randomly watches football on Sunday and jumps on the game.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it is a business, and they got to look at their bottom line. Now, as far as the esports side of it's concerned, like I said, I agree with y'all, especially with draft champions being involved, where you get a random playbook and 2 days to lab it before you get into a game. You don't see no NFL team change their entire playbook, just scrap it, and go into a game 2 days before it. So that's going to limit your play diversity. This year, I think, is probably the worst year as far as not the game. When I hear people say this is the worst game ever, it blows my mind because I've played some bad Maddens. But it's been the worst year for just seeing the same play over and over. There's a very big lack of diversity in play calling. Mm-hmm. I think bringing back formation shifts could make a big difference. I'm sure you remember formation shifts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that right there alone would make a huge difference as far as just seeing different things. And I think the more people separate themselves from the norm and it work, the better the game will come out looking for everybody. Because at the end of the day, the more the game grows, whether you're a competitive player or not, it's going to benefit everybody.
Everybody. Yep.
More resources can be put in. I think that a lot of things from NCAA should be implemented. And I know Rex has spoken on that a few times. And Smitty, I'm sorry if I didn't touch everything you said, man, because you you said a lot of stuff, bro. Like, it was hard to keep up with all of it. So
No. You good? No, I'm just going off I'm just going off top. Like, so
I feel it.
From what I see and everything, and plus this is stuff that I've been saying for a while. So, and like when I see it year after year, time after time, and it's like that's the whole thing. Like what I say is that when I watch, it's entertaining. Like it's entertaining, but I don't enjoy it.
Can I ask you one question though?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. In the past, all these A-gap blitzes and stuff you see, right? When you see the tournament, how often do you actually see them work?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
How often do you actually see A-gaps come screaming against tournament players?
Well,
unless they just forgot to use their protection.
Well, I see.
It don't happen.
It doesn't. But excuse me. It doesn't. It's not as effective, but for multiple reasons. Number one, sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong, the line does hold up at times. That's why usually when they get in with the blitzes, they come off the edges, or they send in the cornerbacks. Mm-hmm. That's one thing, but people unrealistically drop a lot of people into coverage. So they be dropping 9 people in coverage and stuff like that. Some people do. Yeah. They be doing that stuff. Third thing is dudes be dropping back 25, 30, 40 yards and then chuck it upfield 50. I'm exaggerating that a little bit, but that ain't too far off.
It used to be the case to be that much.
Yeah, that's true. It used to be the case. Yeah, that is true though. But they still are doing those unrealistic dropbacks. So it's like when you drop back that far, you dropping back that far, then you're moving all the way over to the right or left, and then they playmaker their receiver. So it's like, this is what I'm saying. We're going away from football, and I got to think video game. So from a football perspective, is it are the blitzes getting in like that? No, they're not. But because of the video game way these guys play, it still draws a question mark because they're not necessarily I don't typically see guys, for the most part, I'm not typically seeing, they do it sometimes, but I'm not typically seeing guys stand tall in the pocket and let that sucker implode around them and then scramble. Or then they just let it implode, let that protection hold, find the read and get it out or throw it away. Because a lot of times these dudes just throw it. They'll throw it into double coverage, triple coverages, and all that stuff. And sometimes they come down with it. Sometimes it's batted away or picked. So it's a mixed bag. Sometimes people throw it away. They throw it away at times. I'm not saying they never do.
Yeah, they actually do a good – I'll be honest. They do a better job than some of us with remembering to throw the ball away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There was a big issue with that, though. If you remember, they had to patch in the right trigger. Because there was a lot of times people were trying to throw the ball away and end up fumbling.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember that. Yeah.
Because it would pump fake for no reason. Also, this year, if you've noticed, is it that they don't want to climb the pocket this year? Or they don't have the pocket presence? Or is it because of the way the game plays this year?
That was going to be my question. And I want you guys, you could definitely debate that, is because what I've always said too, especially guys like yourself and others like I mentioned tonight, I've had a chance to talk to people who know football. And I got to always go back to what Farrell said. Listen, man, the game shouldn't let me do this. So I wonder, and you can speak from that perspective, knowing some of those guys, is it because they can do it and obviously they know it works? Or if the game was built to where you can't just keep rolling out like that, you're going to have a DN stream it like, you got a solid DN is going to contain that. Would they be able to adapt, or, are they doing it because they can, or are they doing it just because they want to? What you think, Smitty?
I think as far you said as far as the DNs containing.
Yeah, like as far as, when you watch the Madden Challenge or Club Series or whatever, not all, but a lot of people quickly hike it. They roll out to the right and they throwing downfield, playmaker or whatever.
Yeah.
So the question is, are they doing that because they can? And they know that most of the time the game is going to allow them to do that? Or is it because they don't know any better? You know what I mean? Like, do they just don't know how to play, or are they doing some of these things because they know it's available in the game? Whereas if it was playing it correctly, would they adapt to the situation?
Well, okay. If they, see that even with that, it still is a mixed bag, because you have games where sometimes they stay in the pocket, but at some point in the game they come out of the pocket, and it's not that the edge isn't set, but think about this. How many players do you see in the NFL drop back purposely 25, 30 yards to deliver the ball just past the first down marker?
But I'm not seeing that this year, though. Like that.
No. I'm not saying you're not. No, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm not saying you are.
I know I'm not even seeing that this year. That's what I'm saying. Not that far.
Yeah, they're going back unrealistically though when they do those dropbacks. I'm not saying this is every snap, but what I'm saying though is that a decent number of snaps they do that, because standing in the pocket, typically when these dudes want to do playmaker, they run out the pocket, because they typically, not saying that it's every time, but typically they're coming out of the pocket in order to make that work, because they typically don't have enough time. Like the pocket would have collapsed on them by then if they're in the pocket. So what I'm saying is that unless they're getting the ball out real quick, typically they'll either run through where the contain would be, like there would be a gap there, they'll be able to run through and stretch the play out, or they'll scramble real quick, or the edge rush isn't able to be that edge rush contain won't be effective, even though it'll be spread out far enough. Like they'll, the defenders will go out the edge, like they'll play the edge out far enough, but because of how they drop back, is how they're doing it. That's why it's not as effective at times. Because I mean, I've seen plays where it is effective, but it's not effective every single instance. It's just how they play it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is effective.
Yeah, I agree with you to an extent. One thing that I think would change that a lot is if you know our quarterback moves now to move up and back with the pocket with the right stick, right? Mm-hmm. They're very limited what we can do with the quarterback. Moving with the quarterback left to right, side to side is very slow. If I have an Aaron Rodgers, I should be able to move better in the pocket than with a Tom Brady. It shouldn't take me a second and a half to start moving. Mm-hmm. If you understand what I mean. So that's that's one of the reasons why you see people, if say I see them setting up a certain blitz or a certain setup and I recognize it and I know I'm immediately going to have to roll to the right, that's the only way I'm going to be able to avoid it. Well, then what else do you expect me to do in that situation? That's my question. Because in that situation, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the play. I know exactly what's coming. I know based on the formation I'm in, the personnel I'm in, I can't stop it. In these tournament modes, which is salary cap and draft champions, the play clock's shorter than in regs or in regular head-to-head or CFM. You got a shorter play clock. So I don't have time to flip the play, block a tight end, do all this other stuff that I know I would have to do to pick up that blitz. So I just need to get out of the way and try to make a read as soon as possible. Now, I feel like they did do a good job of fixing the playmaker to an extent this year. Last year was really bad. And Problem showed that. He ran 4 verticals and FB dive all game and destroyed people with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's no diss to Problems. I'm going to tell you right now, if this game was the most simulation game on the planet, Problem would still be top 2 or 3 in the game regardless. Every year. It wouldn't even matter. That man knows football. All right. So, and his work on the sticks is unmatched. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I played him enough to be annoyed by him enough. But anyway, no. But yeah, like my big thing is like, I seen one comment in the chat, right, where someone was actually saying that we've all been running the same strategy since 06 to Madden 17, which couldn't be further from the truth. And those are the type of things, and I'm not trying to single this person out, so I'm not even going to say the person's name.
Oh no, it's that type of show.
Oh, all right. Well, Naif, my son's matter. He said that we've been using the same strategies from 06 to Madden 17. That is completely false. The strategy has been different every single year. And I promise you, there hadn't been a real nano in the game since whenever, I think it was 10 or 11, when after Contain Blitz. You remember what year that was, Sim?
You're going to have to ask Smitty, because I'm going to be honest. Smitty is the historian.
Smitty, you remember when they put slide protection and took contains out?
I want to say 11.
Might have been.
I want to say 11. I think it was in 12 for sure, but
it was somewhere around that time frame between 11, 12, and 13. But my big thing too is just that I don't understand is the people who don't want to have this dialogue that we're having right now. Because I feel like this is the healthiest thing for the community in gaining an understanding of each other. And it's not just one side, it's not just the other side. And then you have some people who literally want the game to adjust for you. And I just think that's completely taking the game out of being football. Because doesn't no quarterback go to the line of scrimmage and just not say a word to his line, and his line just automatically knows, okay, this is what's going to happen. Or the center not direct or change something or point something out. Or you've seen Peyton Manning time and time again take his halfback and move him to the other side, point out who's blitzing. You hear the mic, or he'll call Omaha or whatever. You understand what I mean? You got adjustments being made based on the players on the field. And I feel like that's the user. And I feel like you should have to make your own adjustment. But at the same time, I agree with a lot of your points as far as the way competitive has looked, especially this year, more than others. And I think that's more of a result of the way the game is playing than the way we want to play the game.
That's a very good point, because I was going to say that. And I'm going to bring in 205, another one of our loyal viewers. I know he wants to chime in, but before you do, 205, that's the point that I have been saying a long time after meeting some of these guys. And you're hearing it tonight. I mean, he's not putting on a front. The fact of the matter is, some of the things that are happening is out of obligation, not by choice. There are guys like the one we talked about earlier who will manipulate. But a lot of these guys doing what they have to do because of the way the game is built. And that's who we should be going after. 205, man, welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Man, I've been talking about this all year. So many videos me and 757 has done. Sometimes I feel like just me, that you and Smitty and AZ wasn't on the same page as we were. Now that I've listened to the show tonight, it's like we feel like we're back on the same show again, or the same page again. And it's just frustrating because it feels like we've been out here in this ocean of the stretch play wasn't overpowered. People wasn't using run fits. And I swear, when the Insta shed happened, I went bonkers because you could not run the ball. And I'm like, how am I going to run the ball with Zeke? How am I even going to do anything? Because I can't play action pass. I can't do – my whole playbook revolves around the running game of the Dallas Cowboys. And if I can't get the run started, how am I going to play action past any of my players? I got so many different weapons I can use, but I can't use it if I have an instant shed happening. And that's the thing that gets me is like that stretch play ruined the whole game for me all year long, to where I just like, I can't even play this. I didn't even want to play in the league anymore. I was just like, nothing anybody said was going to change my mind. This game went from being a good game out of the box until I just wanted to take it and throw it in the backyard and crack it open with a sledgehammer. This game was pathetic. I don't know what happened, and I don't know who was in the room telling Rex this was a good idea, but these bugs, I don't feel like there were so many bugs in this game. Pissed off and upset, and I'm not even mad at Turney, guys. I just want us to all have an even playing field. And when we talk about getting in the fishbowl and playing in our fishbowl, how can we do that if it's like something affects CFM, it affects the attorneys or draft champions or whoever, it affects everybody. And I hate that. And it's like, okay, me and SimFBall was talking today. How is it that in MLB The Show, I've had a continuous road to the show. My player's a 78 overall, and he's been in the league for 4 years. He ain't 99 overall speeds. Y'all can get 99 overall speeds in 6 months in Madden, or whatever, half a year in Madden. This 99 speed doesn't happen. The speed you get when you go to the combine is pretty much the speed you're going to have the rest of your career, and you're just going to decline down from there. You're not going to keep getting faster and faster and faster. That's not going to happen. So these 99 speeds and these 5'9" defensive backs picking off balls from 6'5" and 6'6" guys that are Pro Bowlers, that are rookies coming into the league, that don't happen. So this XP thing, that boggles my mind sometimes. Like, how does that work? I mean, I'm just gonna sit back and listen. I mean, I'll stay on if y'all want me to, but Sim, Smitty, I wasn't trying to fight y'all. I was just frustrated.
No problem.
I hope y'all know that man, that's how I felt. Felt lost in the woods and like I'm looking around going, where is everybody else? That's how I felt. So I just,
Not a problem. Well, 205, we definitely appreciate you sharing your thoughts. We're going to get Neff in here too here in a moment. But I think I can speak for Smitty here, and we agree with a lot of, probably everything that you just said there. But I could definitely speak for Smitty and Azure. We just remain the same, So if anyone ever feels like, man, I don't think we was on the same. I've been the same the whole time, and that's not me saying that like I'm saying, well, it was you and not me. What I'm saying is another part of it is y'all got to remember we are behind the curtain, and it sounds like my man Relly here also gets, he's privy to some of these conversations. So it's kind of like when you know what's going on, it's hard for me to dive into stuff. Like, for example, a lot of people keep asking me, what are you looking for in Madden 18? I already know about Madden 18. So instead of me sitting here saying, yeah, man, we need to, I'm just not if you know me personally, I keep it 100 at all times. There's no frills with me. I don't fake. I hate having to act like I don't know stuff. So I just be like, yo, we'll wait till the information comes out. Then I'll give you my thoughts on it. But there's no point of me giving you my wish list and this. I know every single detail about Madden 18.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that I see that I don't understand, and you guys can help me understand this, because you guys have been asking me some of the things y'all don't understand. Some of the things I see coming out of the sim community is more concerned about the way the field has a certain pattern on it at a certain stadium, more so than the way the game plays.
Oh, right.
And I don't understand how people think that should be being prioritized over fixing a lot of these legacy issues. And I understand the motion and things like that. And they announced it officially now, so we can talk about Frostbite being in the game. That's gonna fix a lot of those physics problems that y'all seen before.
My lips are sealed. I have nothing to say.
They officially announced it. I can say it.
I have nothing to say.
I ain't going no further than that, but they
Yeah, I know.
They officially announced it. It's all over.
like we said, just to piggyback, because I know people gonna be like, "Oh, Frostbite's the savior." Like, no.
No.
That's
not what I'm saying either.
I know you're not saying it, but I'm just making it even.
They gonna say that though.
Further.
They're gonna come back to this show and say, "Man, that dude said." That's how they do.
Exactly. They're gonna say that, but I'm just saying it now. Just make sure they understand that he's not saying it. He's not alluding to. We've already said it before. Just say it again. It's an engine, but it's still going to take time for the game to get to where the game truly needs to go. So don't get that twisted and think that engine equals stop. You'll see what happens. And when the game comes and you see what it actually do, that's when you'll know what's up. Don't be putting all the I've seen some people reach. I mean, I've seen some Mr. Fantastic Stretch Armstrong reaching because Frostbite.
Yeah.
So and I'm like, I don't comment to him. I just look at it. I'm like, okay, all right, y'all keep on reaching like that. Okay. Yeah, you guys gonna be mad at yourselves because what y'all doing. We trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? So,
and we gonna tell you. That's what y'all know. We're gonna tell you everything. But just to comment on what you said, we wait for Neff to come in as well. And it's already almost 9:30. The question I'll throw at you so you can have this loaded, and then I'll throw it to Smitty too. I want to know how can we bridge this gap between the communities. But what I wanted to comment on too was, I mean, it's so many people, man, that's why we ask the question a lot. We say, listen, what do you not like about Madden 17? We've even asked people, what are the biggest problems? And y'all would be shocked at how many people don't even talk about gameplay. They talk about stuff like stadiums and the sidelines and all that. And listen, I want it too, because I always tell y'all, a simulation game to me replicates the game to the fullest. You cut on MLB The Show, and I see the hot dog man in there. That looks like baseball. So it's important. But with us all knowing there's so much other stuff that needs to be done, even with Rex saying publicly, look, man, we got a lot of stuff to do first. Then that's kind of like, and I try to tell y'all this because I know Relly knows this too. Rex a lot of time walks y'all right down the path. It should, like, some of these questions y'all shouldn't even be asking if you just pay attention to what he's telling you. So to see some people complaining about that stuff at this stage, like y'all all know I'm a big component. I want the game to have signature animation and player likeness. But what do I always say? What is the point of having that if they still sliding across the field? They still ain't got natural player movement. What's the point of having an animation that looks like my guy, but he's still ice skating?
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I'll ask you, Relly, and then throw it to Smitty, man. So I guess we could get closer to closing this convo out because we've got a few other things to talk about. You know, you're welcome to join us. How do we fix it? What do you think, in your opinion? How do we bridge the gap between competitive players who really know the game? We ain't talking about these one-offs. Yeah, competitive players and sim players, so we can be one Madden community and we can all pound the table for things we want and get change to happen.
I think the first thing is more open dialogue like this.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like, I mean, I reached right out to you.
Yep.
You weren't the only person I reached out to who's considered a leader, like a leader in the sim community. And I'm going to tell you right now, your response to me made me want to actually have that dialogue with you. Some other people's response to me, basically, you know, with no kind of words, generally told me to go F myself.
Yeah, I know what happened.
And you know, it is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, people need to understand that we all want generally the same thing. And I think more dialogue between each other will help the game grow exponentially, and it will help all of us. Not only that, Rex and Clint are constantly berated with what's wrong. No one ever brings up what they did right.
I do.
Well, I'm talking about the general Madden fan.
But you know, I get criticized for doing it. People literally tell me, "Don't put this on your channel no more." They tell me that.
But what will make them? But you got to understand. Put yourself in their shoes.
Excuse me.
Put yourself in their shoes. The amount of hours and time that they put into this game, and think about, you know, look, this is what I don't like, but I do like this, or I like this about the game, but I don't like this. Don't approach them dropping 30 F-bombs and expect them not to mute you.
Yep.
Or expect them to listen to you.
Pretty
like
much.
I mean, Clint and Rex, we've never had devs like this.
Never.
Nope.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a lot of people who scream, "Oh, the devs team needs to be fired." Are you crazy? Like, that's the first thing I say, regardless of what type of player you are, when people say that. Clint is an ex-NFL lineman.
Yeah.
When he sits there and tells you this is actually how the line is supposed to play, but this is where the problem lies, he's not lying to you. That's the truth. That is the God honest truth. I'm pretty sure he knows more about line play than you do.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, if you're 125 pounds sitting on your couch And he's an ex-NFL lineman. I'm pretty sure he knows what the responsibility of the left guard on this play is. You understand what I mean? So it's just I feel like more people have to trust the process. They said when they first initially took over, there are a lot of legacy issues with the game. A lot. And if you remember, year in and year out, we've seen the same problem. What you have seen with Rex and Clint is progress. That's the one thing you have to say, is that they have made an effort to progress the game and make everybody happy. And I think as a community as a whole, whether you be hardcore sim player, a competitive player, whether you're really involved in CFM, who I think isn't getting enough attention at this time, but I don't know enough about that community to speak on. As I told Shotmaster earlier, Shotmaster's your man for that. Shout out to Shop too, man. That's another great guy. I just think more open dialogue like this, man.
Absolutely.
And more respect for one another. Just like any other walk of life.
Yeah, yep. Real talk. And one thing, though, I will say, though, and this was from piggybacking off the point you made earlier about the people that are concerned about equipment and all that. See, I think the equipment bit has fell by the wayside because NCAA isn't around anymore. Because NCAA was the main franchise that every year, oh man, this school has this combat, elite arm sleeve, or they got this jersey type, or they got this. And I mean, you're talking about 117 colleges versus 32,
Right.
32 NFL teams. And you got people, and you got all these campus students and things like that, that really pay attention to that. They give a care. I mean, they base their purchase on certain cleat types and helmet types and stuff being in the game. So it's like you got that crowd now. The only recent football game they got is Madden. So it's like they're banking on certain aspects of the game, like just like how we've seen with the past few years. They got some of these official shoes in the game. People for the longest have said, man, when are we going to get – I distinctly – some dudes, especially got to shout out J.P. Davis. One of the main people that would always tweet to Clint about equipment and all that stuff. And it's like, it's there. Now they're doing it. You know what I mean? They're getting shoes, they're getting sleeves, they're doing all that good stuff. So just like how we got our sim, we got our tourney guys, we got casuals, you got your equipment people that, they're in the conversation too. It's not, it wouldn't be as far as our conversations that we have because they fighting over equipment. Saying what equipment should be in over another. We talking about, playing the game though, actually, you know what I'm saying? So, but you have those diehard crowds where they really do give a care. Like, for example, I was at an NBA live event back then for like Live 15, and dudes were like, there were some guys there that were really adamant about certain equipment being in the game. And they're like, yo, if we could get the equipment and it's this color and it's this and da-da-da, like they're adamant about it.
Yes,
and it's like I enjoy the game, it's cool and all that, but yo, if y'all could get this in, man, that'd be so huge, man, because like, and that's it. So you got those crowds, man. It may be crazy to us, but they out there. So gotta respect it. That was eye-opening to me. So hey, I gotta respect it.
Yeah, I understand it, man. I agree. I don't really have much more to add to as far as what they know. What I've said numerous times, how we can bridge it.
Sam, real quick.
Yeah,
Sam, real quick. Not to cut off, but
no, go ahead.
The Cleveland Cavaliers are up 4.
What?
In the fourth quarter?
What?
111 to 107 with under 2 minutes to go.
Stop playing.
Nope.
I'm gonna tell you what. If
LeBron James showing you how you get a triple-double.
If they win this game,
Yeah.
The Pacers might as well forfeit the last one. The score was 74-49 at half. Come on, man.
Like I said, LeBron got 39, 12 assists, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal. That's a triple-double. That's what you do. You understand?
Wow.
An efficient 26 shots, 14 to 26. Okay? That's how you do it, Westbrook. That's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Goodness gracious. Well, I just had to shout that out.
I can't wait to hear what Charles and them got to say.
Sim,
go ahead, man.
One more thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And I meant to say this earlier. A lot of us who play in a competitive style, and I'm calling on my side of the community, I think part of the problem that we're having is we don't explain to people the actual football concept behind certain plays that we run and why it works.
Right.
And I think that if we start doing that more often, we may get a better understanding from the sim community. And I was curious of what y'all's thought on that was.
Wow. I can answer that real quick. And let me just let everybody know those other topics, I don't think we're going to hit them. Kia has come on now, and we got Neff as well. So we're going to give those guys an opportunity to speak. If we get a chance, I mean, y'all know we don't like to generally run too far past 10 o'clock because we got family obligations. But we'll see. But I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that because, again, I got to refer back to my guys now, Gibbs and Falls. I learned that they learned. I learned from them that they actually knew a lot of concepts and why they were doing things. It wasn't just because, oh, okay, the game, I got to do it this way. But you got to have some type of knowledge to understand what you're trying to achieve. So I fully agree with that, man. I don't think that is – I definitely don't think, and I don't get a sense that people are just blindly – now, some are, because some people – you know, they put out these guys, and I'm not talking about Gibbs, and I'm talking about more so the freelance people on YouTube or whatever say, hey, new blitz. So you get people that don't really know the concept, and they just saying, oh, that works, I'm going to do that.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something, though. 90% of them go to sites like Sports Gamers, Mine, Madden Daily, the guys that have been around 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Buy the ebook and then just put a random play up and give no explanation of why it works, how to counter it, anything like that. And then it just gets all through YouTube, and all people know is just this one play. They don't see all the adjustments that are going into it. Like, you might see nickel blitz too, but you have no idea that coverage has been changed 9 different ways by the time that play's run.
Yeah,
and that's more because of the way the game plays than anything. I don't want to make that many adjustments. Just being real with you, I don't want to.
And I get
caught. If I get caught, I'm done.
I appreciate guys like y'all, because I'll tell y'all something real quick, and then NYK, I know you're on. It looks like you're unmuted. Come right in after me, and then Neff, come in right in after him. I have had the pleasure to be in a room with Chappie, Zan, Lights, y'all know Lights Out, and Mr. Skimbo. And I'm sitting there like mind blown, because I'm like, how did you know that? He said, yeah, because this. I'm like, okay, I would have never known that. But I love when they explain to me, like Skimbo. It's so cool talking to him, man, because the way he looks on the tournament, that's his personality. Laid back, calm and collective. And he'll say stuff like, nah, that's because, you got to put this cross man on that drag and, take that post away. And you got to, it's so, but he's rambling it off. And I'm like, that's what I appreciate. Now I understand. So guys like you, man, and those guys, it's very important. It's really like the flip side of what we do. When I do my little breakdowns as to why this happened, it's the same thing, but it's from a competitive standpoint. So I think that's the bridge right there, understanding that you guys are doing that to compete because other people are throwing things at you. So you have to do things to make up from the efficiencies of the game in order to compete. And Kia, I know you can contest to that because Kia can play whatever style. So
yeah, I know
what you got for us, man?
Oh yeah, I mean, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I pretty much agree with virtually everything that's been said. My focus over the past couple of years have been basically in online CFM sim leagues and doing, schematic tutorials, trying to show how the game can replicate real life schemes and how it can do it better. And this year, I dove into the MUT pool. I dove in, both feet in and went at it. And I learned a lot of things. A couple of things that, stood out to me right away is that, well, one, MUT is kind of weird to begin with. I think either Fars or Gibbs said something along the lines of, in MUT, everyone can tackle like a linebacker and everyone can cover like a defensive back. And that's true. That right away makes the gameplay in that mode a little bit different than what you'd find in a CFM or even in a regular online game with regular teams. But the things that I found most interesting, like you guys have spoken on this before in this past hour, is that the sim crowd and the tourney crowd have more in common than they have differences. In trying to get myself to understand how the tournament gamer thinks, I would speak to Zan all the time on Twitter and try to figure out how things work and try to mix how do I apply how my mind thinks and how the tournament gamer thinks. And a lot of it is parallel to each other. And a lot of it kind of fits, even though you have to kind of tweak things here and there to account for the shortcomings in the game that we all have to deal with. The guys who are really, really good, the guys who are always at the very top of this game, the ones who are always in the finals of these tournaments, none of us are ever beating those guys. let's get that off the table right now. I mean, the sim guys like to think, like the hardcore, I like to call them the sim Nazis. They think that if those guys were forced to play with real football, they'd get exposed. The top guys, the Skimbos, the Problems, the Serious Mo's, they put in so much time into this game that they would adapt. What I think would be a bigger challenge, and what I think has proven to be the biggest challenge with this game this year, is that the rest of the community ends up getting lost when things are all of a sudden sprung on them that they don't quite understand, that are difficult. So they look for someone to put out an ebook to show them how to, shortcut the game, and you end up with a game where you have 1 million people all playing exactly the same. I think that everyone kind of doing what we're doing as far as providing feedback and as far as sharing our approaches to the game is the right approach. I do believe that the devs are the right devs on board. I do believe that 100%. I bash Clint over the head every single day almost in DMs, and Clint takes it. And, I'm always pounding Twitter about different schemes that don't quite work correctly and how I want them to be. And as long as guys do that in a way that brings something tangible and to the table that's constructive and is able to be addressed, they listen. I mean, sometimes they have short fuses, sometimes they have bad days, sometimes they're just fed up getting beat up on like anybody else. But all in all, the devs I feel confident in. I just am more wary of the community and them being able to adapt after being able to get away with playing so fast and loose for so long. Mm-hmm. I mean, on the one hand, we have a game where you have really two defensive plays that are causing havoc. Nickel Blitz 2 and the Dollar Cross Man out of the DB Fire 2. So on one hand, that's good. that we've boiled the exploits down to 2 defensive play calls, as opposed to the legions of A and B gaps we're dealing with before. That's a positive. But on the other hand, it's also very frustrating that the game is boiled down to those same 2 play calls.
Right.
So I don't know. I just think that we have to keep on pushing to clean up the game as far as rooting out those exploits. I don't really care about multiple settings and multiple game modes until that is done, because without that, those are pointless. I think if you root those out as much as you can and force people to have to play the game, quote unquote, the right way, as opposed to relying on a bevy of exploits, I think the competition will take care of itself. Guys will adapt. The guys who don't want to adapt, they'll either lose or they'll play something else. But you can't tell me that, as big as football is in this country, that you won't have guys chomping at the bit to fill the void if guys in the competitive scene drop out. I just refuse to believe that. I'm sure there are tons of guys out there that would love to jump in and play muck competitively, but are sitting on the sidelines because they don't want to deal with all the mess. They don't want to have to figure out what the new exploit is this year and how to combat that. The less of that we have in the game, the more those people come in, and you have a deeper pool of players and you have a more diverse range of play styles. I mean, right now, you can only run 3 or 4 formations on offense to combat this stuff. And no one wants to see that. It's a boring game and a boring event when I'm watching a tournament and everyone's running the same exact offense, the same exact, 3 or 4 plays that combat and block the nickel blitz, or that can combat the cross man.
Right.
So who wants to watch that? The past few tournaments with the club series, they were unwatchable.
Yeah, the club series.
It was terrible. But on the flip side, those things being made more public, I think, puts the onus on the devs to get those things fixed faster. So, as a guy who went from the sim crowd and jumped into the tournament crowd, I had a lot of fun with it, all things considered, and I learned a lot. And I just hope that we can get the game closer to the point where all parties can feel like they have an avenue to compete and not feel like they have to play in a certain fishbowl that they may not necessarily want to play. That's all I have to say about that.
Man, kid, we definitely appreciate you coming by and giving your thoughts. Neff, what you got for us, man?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. No, I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm going to be really tame tonight because, I can fly off the handle like a pack of hemorrhoids real quick. But my thing is, when I first played Madden 17 out the box, I could play any level and get a game out of it. I wasn't too worried about all you can't stop the outside run. No, you got to learn how to play defense. Yeah, the AI is going to tear you down anyway at some point in that game. It's going to give itself advantages. So just because it breaks a couple of outside runs, just like real NFL running backs, means you need to just play harder. You need to learn more. I played real football like most of y'all on here. You have to learn a defense. You don't know the defense until you learn the defense. And if you call the same 3-4 double down zone on the corners and expect anybody to get stopped, the AI adjusts to your dumb calls. And that's the difference between the older Maddens and this Madden. Mm-hmm. It will adjust to you. It's not going to allow you to do the same defense or offense. Hell, you can't even punt the same direction without the wind blowing it somewhere. People are so, and I wasn't in Madden Universe. I wasn't talking about you guys. I'm talking about people still get online, play the same exact way they've been playing for years. I got online twice, up 7-0 in both games, and it said connection was lost.
Oh, my bad. I misread what you said then. No,
I was talking about the guys that get online, the cheesers. They just get out there and run the hurry up offense. And, I got to score. And if I don't score before they do after a minute and a quarter, I'm quitting. Pretty much that's what happens. So I'm an old school. I like to learn. And you got Madden for a year. So why can't you sit there and figure the game out instead of after 3 weeks you give up on it because, I can't stop that with that defense no more. What happened? It's called the AI ain't letting you get away with it. If you don't know how to use the run fits, which most people don't, unfortunately to this day still, and you don't learn how to adapt and cover yourself, the man you're controlling, you will get your ass beat all day in the game. And play on all Madden to see if that ain't true.
Absolutely.
All Madden will terrorize you if you keep running the same play, the same formation, and you thinking, oh, I got this new strategy. I'm gonna come up in here and I'm gonna do this and that. 3 plays later, you cut the box off, and you're like, I'm done. You know, what can I do to win now? It ain't the same no more. But people still play the same strategies. They still put in backup fast quarterbacks and run around the pocket and get hammered by a defensive end. And when they get hammered, they're like, they cut the box off again. There's more people quitting themselves than they quitting online. They get tired. They get tired of getting beat. So my point is, they don't have to fix the game to be perfect. Just correct what is the problems, and they can't correct all of them for 30 million people in less than 2 years. It takes time. Engineering takes time. I don't care who you are. And if people out there feel they could correct it faster than Rex or Clint, then get a job at EA and go up in there and be a superhero. Be a superhero. Go in there and do your thing, because you're going to be asked out by security when they find out that you don't know what the hell you're doing. That's the bottom line. So all those haters that's going to come out and start playing their little, hate Madden, or the game's still the same, get on YouTube, play your game, show us how you never have an issue with any of the settings. And when you win, I will jump on there and be a subscriber. Till then, I got nothing to say to your dumbasses. I'm out.
Yo, hey, can I respond to one thing though? Because Sam, I see you put it there too. I hate that hurry up offense thing. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, it's dumb to do it this year because of how quick you fatigue. But how often you see the Patriots do it? Because for years we heard that's not sim.
But see, this is an interesting topic, because this kind of will tie in all of this. You and me both probably will agree on this. A lot of stuff that is done by Madden players is technically sim. Hurry up offense is a sim thing. Hell, running the same play. Listen, I've seen my Steelers literally, and I hate to get on AzureEffect's Titans, but 2 years ago, Le'Veon Bell had 206 yards. They ran the counter trap back to back. It was so bad. There's audio of the linebacker saying, it's the same play. It's the same play. They couldn't stop it. So I got to agree with what Neff said when he said they just need to fix this game to be more, allow things to happen more in a realistic fashion. If you're running the ball down my throat and I can't stop it because I don't have the right personnel, I'm not making the right adjustments, so be it.
I also got something else I can point out for you that a lot of people don't know. The year the Colts won the Super Bowl, do you know how many different route combinations the Colts ran all season long?
About 3.
Yeah, not a lot.
That's it. Just from different formations.
Yep.
To different sides of the field. That's it. And if you couldn't stop one, they'd keep running it over and over. That's how they lost the Super Bowl when Tracy Porter picked that dig off.
Slant. He knew it was coming.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily the amount of plays. It's I think a lot of it, like I said, a lot of us see the same things. And I just think that we don't see each other as that a lot of times. And it's crazy. And it reflects society a lot when you really think about it.
Can I bump in for a minute?
Yeah.
Hey, remember Chicago Bears versus the Saints when Reggie Bush was the man? In the playoff game, the Bears ran Thomas Jones 8 times in a row, same play. You can look on YouTube. What the point is I don't care how many times they run a play. If you can't adjust to to an offense, and you're just calling the same defenses and hoping people fill the gaps, you're going to forever get burned. There's no mercy. Look at Aaron Rodgers did to Dallas, unfortunately, my team. We tried to play zone. We tried to play man. We tried to play the bench. We tried to play in the stands. Nothing worked.
That's a different human being there, though, bro.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of these guys started, they were giving up on themselves because they weren't playing the defense as it was designed. They started trying to ad-lib and do their own thing, and they got burnt so many times. It was a barbecue in that stadium. And that's why That's why I say about Madden, I know the AI isn't perfect. It will never be perfect. But if you don't learn the game to adjust to what the AI is going to do to you, you will never have fun in that game. You'll just do the old cut off the button and put it on later and hope it changes. But it ain't going to change. All Madden will whoop you. All Pro will whoop you. I don't care what setting you're on. If you don't learn to adjust to the game. I've talked to Sim about this. He's talked to me about it. So many times people start crying about, oh, that defense is glitching, it's cheating. How's it cheating when you can't do nothing but one play?
Yeah. I got a question, Neff. You said, and Sim, you both say y'all used to play football in some form or fashion, whether it be high school or whatever, right? Do you think that a big issue with a lot of people is they just look at the play art on defense and think that that's what that they just
thank you very much.
They just look at the picture and think this, that, and the third. Because
that's it.
You know how long at the beginning of the year when stretch was popular, I had to have the argument with people telling them to run a cover 4 to defend it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that stretch was not unstoppable.
No, you could literally run where the run fits.
Exactly.
And it was just driving me crazy because people were like, cover 4 is not a run defense. Yes, it is.
It is.
I don't care if I use a 4-6 and it shuts down a Hail Mary. I'm gonna keep using it till they adjust to it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just like any other NFL team. Look at the Giants. They beat so many teams with Odell Beckham slants. It don't even make sense.
Oh man, all day long. But you know what? I'm not trying to take over here, but I'm just saying you got a good point there. People actually think in real football, which they can't separate video game from reality. When you play real football, you don't get no lines drawn up for you, Sim. Like Sim knows. You have to learn where to go. And if you are late or too early or just stupid as hell, you're not going to get there. And it's going to be ugly, really ugly. So
all you literally had to do to stop stretch was run 4-3 under front cover 4. That was it.
Thank you.
Thank you or 3-4 out cover 4. One of the two.
Thank you very much. Or learn to use your linebackers and corners on a force. If you learn, because I do that all the time. I force my corners up and I'll control them. And if I don't get the play going to my side, I will chase it down to the other side. How do you not stop a run?
Now counter was different. Counter out of the 3-4, there's a bit of a problem. What was happening was the linebacker to the play side, he would drift inside and not come to the edge and hit the edge.
Yeah.
So
he got picked off a lot.
Yeah, so you'd be able to just kick him out and just zoom right by him.
Yep. No, you're right there, Kia, because I know when I ran against the counter against the defenses, my linebacker got sucked in immediately, and I had to use the safety or a corner to go double down on the run. At least suck up a block so someone else could come make the tackle.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of, and I've learned that very quickly. It's a lot of lack of knowledge of what the plays are supposed to do, accepting the fact that you might have called the wrong play, and that's why they was able to get so many yards. It happens. It happens. And the only thing that I will comment on, really, on something you said earlier, this is a good point to do it. I agree with everything you said about we should have to make the adjustments. The only thing I would love the game to do is AI in terms of diagnosing things, like what they advertised back in 25. So, for example, using myself, when I played in the secondary and I get strong safety, it was a lot of times I had to say, okay, I've seen this formation before. Sometimes I made the play. Other times I was wrong. There's no form of that in the game at all. There's no sense of that. So to me, that's the only thing I would like to see improve as far as
situations, though.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, let's say, and I don't want this to be 100% because I actually want to see mistakes happen as well. But let's just say there's a situation where my cornerback is getting killed, on a certain route. Maybe he has a trait. Now, again, you got to separate players because everybody's not Richard Sherman or Patrick Peterson.
Yeah.
But let's say you have Dion in the ultimate team. Dion should be able to say, no. You ain't running that again. I'm taking elite
players. So you're saying elite players with high awareness type levels. That's what.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I understand that to a degree. Yeah. I was more on the side of, I was more in the sense of speaking to the people who were saying that they know a certain blitz is coming, but instead of them learning the mechanics of the game and learning the pass protection the game gives you, the game should just do it itself.
Oh, gotcha.
That was more what I was saying. And the other thing is, like I said, the way they have slide protection set up now is in a way where it's easy enough for a casual player to learn in a decent amount of time. Because if they put real pass protections into this game,
oh my gosh,
people are going to freak
People
out.
would be getting sacked 10 times a game.
It'd be like backbreaker.
Bro, the whole D line will
release.
just come.
Remember how backbreaker's pass rush was? You had a second or three to get rid of that ball. And you put that in Madden, it's going to get ugly. And put it on all Madden. I dare anybody out there in the comments to say they'll put it on all Madden and it won't affect me. You'll be hit so many times, you'll feel like you've been hit.
Yeah. And see, that goes back to the whole, and this is why, you know, obviously y'all know it's not a whole lot we can comment on because of obvious reasons, but this is the reason why I would be in favor of like what Rex has tweeted saying, you know, how do people feel about the idea of having something like that? Or, you know, I remember like there was a question, he responded to a tweet and he was saying, well, yeah, you're right, unless we're able to implement some type of different sets. And see, that's, to me, that's kind of how I look at it. Because some people would say, well, why have different settings? To me, that's why. Because maybe as they get the game, agreeing with NYKia though, game got to be pristine first. Like the gameplay and all of the proper things that are supposed to happen needs to happen. But then once that is happening, definitely I'm in favor of having different sections of segments that can allow more realism like that if I choose to play that way. But like you said, man, you got to bring people along. So I think that's the only way that they can attempt to appease everybody is by allowing different settings. And again, I would recommend don't tell them what level they playing on. Don't tell them. Because I'm telling you, there's so many all Madden. I'm the man around here. Like he in his office tomorrow telling his people at the job, yeah, I beat all Madden. It's like a rite of passage that people feel. But you don't need to be on all Madden. That's why you lost by 40.
Yeah, then you end up playing somebody else that's really nice, and then and
exactly.
Mad.
Yeah,
but there's something I wanted to add on. As far as the whole user control thing, like what you're talking about, in terms of the game doing it for you versus user control. Like I know that Rex has said that players get a boost when you take control of the DB and you make the plays yourself. But why not, instead of giving people a boost, why not have it play true to the ratings? And that's the whole thing. It plays true to the ratings regardless of what button you press, even if you do use your own. Because,
my bad. I would go ahead and finish. I thought you was just ending with that. My bad.
No, you cool. No, I was just gonna say because in MLB The Show 17, from me playing it, I was like when I was streaming it earlier, I had Miguel Cabrera. Dude hit the ball. It came directly at me. Like I was in direct position to make the play, and he bobbled it. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? He bobbled it and went to the outfield. I'm like, I'm in perfect position to make the play. It was a routine play, and he bobbled it. I got a character like I'm playing my Road to the Show with my guy. I'm in the outfield. I'm in perfect position to make the play. Dude bobbles it. And it's because, you know, he may not be as skilled or depending upon how the ball came in his direction. He may not have been, it may have been too hot to handle. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of stuff you need in Madden. Because it's like, you can play the ball however you want to, but let's say if you got perfect position or whatever, but your man defense or your zone defense or whatever is at 75 or your awareness is at 75 or something like that, right? Well, that receiver that may have higher awareness, higher catch, depending upon what catch type he does, you still will give your attempt, but he'll still be able to reel it in. You see what I'm saying? And
that already happened, though.
Yeah, that already happens.
That already does happen. But I think I understand what you're saying. You don't want to have the artificial boost there to the user player negate what the computer control player is doing. That I agree with.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is taking it a step. Like the other part is not in the game yet. Separate animations, not these sequences playing out that we got. I'm talking about straight up separate animations altogether. If I want to high point it, I'm going to high point it. If you're going for a SWAT, you go for a SWAT. I got my high point animation. You got your SWAT animation. They come together. Wherever the ball is at, you either make a play on it or you don't. Just like how we see in FIFA and PES and NHL in those games. That's where it'll really be valid.
Well,
in terms of that playing out.
What I was going to say in those specific situations, let's just use aggressive catch as the example. The Y button. We all know that the counter from the user is the X button, SWAT. Now, if I'm playing Ultimate Team and I have Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, who in my opinion is him, between him and Dion, the two best corners in the game. If I have DRC and I'm clicking on, I'm able to make a play on that ball a lot better than I'm able to make a play on that ball with a corner that's 5'9" against somebody that's 6'3".
Yes.
So I feel like there's already a change in that. And I feel like if the offensive player just allows the computer to just do whatever can animation they're going to do, and I make the effort to actually make a play on the ball, I should be rewarded for that if I make the correct play on the ball.
Right. Yep.
That's where I feel on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel it. I feel it. It's just, I just wanted it to be like, see, when we play FIFA, I don't know if you played it or not, but
yeah, I play FIFA.
Okay, so yeah, when you play FIFA and you see how the separation animation is there, even when players interact with each other, that's what I'm talking about. Have that happening.
The separation. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. That's different than where we was at. I got you.
Yeah, you like ratings and all that come into account, but still the player size and stature, like what you just said, that matters too. And plus, there is no suction into, okay, now we're about to jostle. I'm a good yard away from you or close to a yard away, and this sequence has got a trigger, so I'm just gonna suction onto you now.
Yeah, so if we were gonna make a comparison, you would say like Michael Vick scrambling out of the backfield and getting chased down by a 62 speed defensive tackle, that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That
stuff
shouldn't
like
happen.
that.
I
that
agree
shouldn't
with
happen.
You. Okay, exactly.
Yeah,
okay,
that should not happen.
And with the DB and wideout stuff too, and Smitty knows this, but what Smitty is basically saying, what FIFA doesn't do is, well, I don't know if it's perfect, but it doesn't seem to have as much of an issue with two men interacting, where we all know in Madden, and Rex and them know that as well, because I explained even why that's even there. We used to complain about the synchronized catching, so they had to try something doing the two-man sequences. But it just seems like at times you either get pulled into it or it just plays out wrong. Like
it did get better this year than last year, though.
It did improve.
Oh yeah, it's progressing.
Yeah,
they need to make these animations more believable, though, because I can't believe that a man from 3 yards away has already hit the ball before he gets there. No matter what the situation is, they need to correct that. They can't make it perfect, but you can see the animation. Like I watch a lot of Sims videos, and you can see the animation taking place before it even gets there. Just like Ben Roethlisberger's two-seam fastball he threw.
Yeah.
That ball was determined way before the play started.
And I'm telling you right now, from being obviously a Steelers fan, Antonio Brown is never going to see a ball coming and then turn around and look at the defender
and ignore it.
That's never gonna happen.
Oh yeah, okay. Same thing with DBs too, like Landon Collins. The ball ain't gonna go through his face mask.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like it's just
But all of this
was
ties
really
into player
frustrating.
movement overall, I think.
Exactly.
You have a whole lot of situations where players are just not moving naturally because there's not an animation tying them to what they are trying to do. So you have these players moving unnaturally fast. And you see this with these 4-6 and 4-4 defenses that everybody runs every down, regardless of what formation that you're in. These linebackers and safety to the line of scrimmage, they're able to move laterally as fast as they're moving forward. And that causes all kinds of problems with spacing the field. And it applies to whether they're in pursuit or whether they're making a play on the ball. So you have these situations where there's no choice for the game to play a situation out, then to shift them into position because it's not going to register any other way.
That's why I love FIFA.
That runs true, Kia, because a lot of the plays, like on sim streams, a lot of the players will just stop. As a play, they're mixed in, bunched in together, and they just stop all in the middle. So where you going to throw? You know, you got no one to throw to. I mean, I hate when I run a play, like I run a slant, then I run a dig, and I run separate patterns to keep them away from each other. But somehow they just gravitate together like they're going out to Denny's or something.
Hey, yo, I just want to. I seen Sim say he's about to close the show soon. I just wanted to thank all y'all for having this conversation, man.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Because I think more of this needs to really, really happen. And just before I go, I will say that I agree with 85% of the stuff that y'all just said. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what a lot of people don't realize. We a lot closer together than some of y'all realize, you know what I mean? And some of us on my side realize or whatever. And we shouldn't be picking sides with each other. We should be looking at how the game can get better. And like, I'm tired of having the argument with people about like what personnel should work versus what. I mean, if you remember Todd Bowles' defense with the Cardinals before he left the Cardinals for the Jets job. Do you know on average he had 6 DBs on the field at a time? And they were third in rush defense?
Wow. See?
Anybody know that?
Nah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but to that point, they had specific players that allowed them to do that. So as long as you have the players that can do it, fine, knock yourself out.
I agree. I agree. I'm just saying that just shows that there's an exception to every rule.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing right there. Madden isn't sophisticated on that level yet to even be able to apply that.
Well, if I'm playing Mutt, and say I come out and for example, he said the 46. If I come out in the 46 normal and use the speed package, right? So that gives me dime personnel. I could actually manually sub back in one of the linebackers, giving me nickel personnel. So now I have 2 linebackers in the middle of the field. I still have my 5 DBs and my 4 down linemen. I should be able to move laterally back and forth across the field. Where I agree with what Kia said, when you have all these slow linebackers across the field, I shouldn't be able to run and magically pick off an out route from inside the box.
Right.
You know, so it's like it's a give and take.
That's what we're saying.
It's a give and take, but I know exactly. But it's not my fault that happens. That's my point.
Right.
Right. No, ain't nobody.
Yeah. That's the whole
you know what I'm saying? That's the point. Y'all aren't making that point, but a lot of people do try to make that point.
Right.
Oh, it's your fault that happened. No, that's the game did that. I didn't do that.
But
that wasn't even a user play.
But see, it doesn't help it that it's on a national stage, and y'all, and when it's used to win, and it's like, yeah, baby, this is football right here, and it's like, nah, dog, that ain't, you know what I mean? Like,
game's fault.
It is the game.
You know, they chose to go esports now. So, so to that regard, I have to be like, I don't necessarily like it because I would prefer it to be different, but it's like, I can't knock it.
Yeah, but you know what though? That forces them to make the game better.
Yes.
Overall.
Yes.
It forces them to because it's on NFL Network. Because people just looked at the Twitch numbers and didn't look at the NFL Network numbers. The NFL Network numbers did better than the Sports Center numbers that night.
Wow.
The 6 p.m. Sports Center.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me they beat Mike and Jamel?
I'm talking about this is the second tournament.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you follow him. I forget the dude's name, but he's like an esports journalist, and he tweets out all the analytics and stuff like that. And he was saying that Madden was growing at a faster rate than any of the other esports that had come into. So
that's crazy.
The worse it looks on TV, the more they're gonna have to fix it, because I don't know if people know this. Nano detection is a direct result of something that happened in the tournament last year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yep.
Now, we say it multiple times here on the show and everything. I mean, Kia said it, we've said it, and everything else. So, like, the more that Madden gets that exposure like that, the more ammunition that gives to Rex and even us to say, hey, this is, we need these things to be in the game or what have you, because look what it's doing. And he can actually bring that to the table and make an argument for it, because you're trying to get that money. I mean, look, you got, I pointed this out to Sim the other day. China, I think the Asian Olympics are literally about, like, E-Games is about to literally be an Olympic medal sport passed by the committee. Like, it's officially part of the Olympics now.
Yeah, people getting college scholarships, man.
Yeah, and they're about to get medals. Like 2018, they got a tournament off of, like, they didn't say what games yet, but still, it's just a principle. And then 4 years later, they're going to actually have medal, like, official Olympics. Like, you're talking about pole vaulting and cycling and all that.
Yeah,
esports is in that now. So
it's already been the X Games the past 4 years too. So, like, I mean, the stage is getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. And regardless of whether you like the style of play or not, the more complaints they see, the more changes are going to happen. The better the game's going to get. Whether you decide to participate or not, the game's going to get better based on how the TV reaction is.
That's what we need.
I got one more thing to say, Sim, before I'm out of here, and I know you want to close the show, but when Madden 18 comes out, people, stop complaining about something you have little idea about and start learning. You got a whole year with that game. You don't have to play it in 1 week and try to learn everything. You got a whole. I'm still learning things every day in that game. Learn to play the game. That's my biggest point. Learn.
Ask questions too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Don't go running and screaming for a patch the first week of the game.
You know they're gonna do that because EA Access come out and they're gonna play those first 10 hours, and then after the first hour they're gonna scream the Rex and patch fix. So you already know that's coming.
I don't want to hear it.
Hey man, they're gonna open the box, put it in the PS4 Pro, and all of a sudden 2 kickoffs later, man, something wrong with this game. Is glitching because I can't move the ball. It's called, you are stupid. You need to learn how to play the game.
The plays from last year don't work this year. What's wrong?
Exactly. Like, go ahead and hit that share button and stream it. Let's see what's broke. Like, let's see it. So
notice, hey Smitty, notice a lot of those people didn't even do that because you challenged them. Get on YouTube, show me what things, what's wrong.
Yeah,
Sim did the same thing.
Gonna do it.
Nobody's gonna do it.
Yo, you know how many people I offered to get in a game with and show them how to stop stretching the first couple weeks of the game, and none of them would do it.
Of course not.
Like, I actually was taking time. I was taking time out of my day to show you.
Of course not.
I was like, come on, son.
Kid, look, I would say out of anybody, well, from what we see, NY Kia shows you how to play defense. He shows you packages. He breaks down playbooks and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? This
better than the NFL Network.
Yeah, like extensively for multiple years, especially when it came to the Tampa 2 defense. This dude was awful.
This is when zone coverage sucked, and I was still doing it.
Yeah, man.
He made it happen.
All I'm gonna say is, you see that green screen behind me, man. Things about to change come August.
Yeah,
because I'm about to learn some people some stuff because I'm starting to get annoyed.
Man, I'm telling you this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I want to see where his universe channel is because I'm a sub to it. I've never
I was just about to say that, man. I was gonna say
I really haven't really been paying attention to YouTube this year, to be honest with you, man. I just been focusing on my website, but like I'm about to hit YouTube a lot harder next year because I feel like that part of the community has become an issue for everybody. It's been very cancerous this year. Like you got people trying to expose people and this, that, and the third, and they're running on the drama thing, and like it's just
Nah, I'm gonna tell you something, Madden Universe. I'm gonna tell you. So sorry to break that because that's where I get pissed off. These guys go on Twitter and go back and forth like little babies about oh, this game doesn't do this and this game. Man, I hate that drama.
Exactly.
I really do. I'm sorry, man. I don't know, something's playing in the background here, but I hate that drama, man. It's stupid. Why do you have to go on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube, going and always on Sim? When he gets the game, watch how many idiots are going to run up in there. Oh, this game's still the same. It's still the same. It doesn't look any different.
They won't even touch the game yet.
Thank you. I'm done now.
They'll see a clip.
They'll touch the game.
They'll see. No, I'm saying they'll see a clip with you and Sim when y'all show y'all first clip of the game, and they'll say it's the exact same game.
Yeah. No, it's not even a clip. It's the screenshot.
Yeah,
that's what they're gonna say. Oh, you just see that guard standing there by the water cooler, looking this way when he should be looking that way.
What game don't look the same? MLB The Show looked like it did in 14 to me.
Nah, but Sim,
until I played it.
The crazy thing about it though is like this. You see, I've done my homework on y'all. I've been watching y'all from for a while, yo.
Right.
It ain't just like. I have no hate in my heart towards no part of the community. I just can't stand the drama. And it got to the point this year where I was just like, you know what? If I can do anything to help that, let me see if I can start doing that. That's why I reached out to you. I reached out to some people at Operation Sports, kind of got an FU out of them. So I was like, cool. If that's the way you want to be about it, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And, whatever. I'm going to just keep trying to do everything I can, And I just want, like I said, I just want to reiterate to anybody that watches this, if you got feedback for Clinton Rex, don't go cussing them out. Come at them the way that you would want someone to come to you at your job.
Absolutely.
To constructively criticize you. And tell them what they did right and what they did wrong.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how hood you could get with them. It's about a business they got to run.
And they're not going to listen to you. Listen, we know these guys. Rex ain't listening to that.
They put their blinders on.
Come on.
I'm going to be real with you. I'm just going to be real with you, man. Rex is going to be like, man, get the fuck out of here and mute you.
Yep. Yep.
He ain't going to say it to you. He's just going to hit mute.
Yep.
And he needs to do that. And like I said, 30 people in their studio can't please 30 million people. It's not possible.
Exactly.
And if y'all knew some of the other guys on the team, I mean, like I know some of the devs are going to see this. Like, you think Scant listened to that nonsense? Come on, come on, bro. I mean,
let Scant.
I'm not gonna lie. The only person I talk mess to is RG, but that's just a different situation.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a different situation, but like.
I would love to see some of these dudes in front of Scant. That's all. That would be hilarious.
Nah, I need him to remain on the team, so I don't want nobody trying to confront Scant. Please don't do that because I need him to remain where he's at.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, by the way, RG, if you watch this, you still owe me my get back for getting me out that tournament last time you played, bro.
Oh man.
Well, man,
I don't forget
words.
I hate to be the party pooper, man, but I got some obligations I got to get to. But before we go, first I want to thank everybody who came on. Absolutely thank Madden Universe, better known as Relly843. Before you go, give all of your particulars where people can follow you, your website, and all of that.
My Twitter is at Madden Universe and the website's MaddenUniverse.com, man. You hit me up on Twitter, man. I talk to everybody, any different type of topic, you know what I'm saying? So I'm older. You know what I'm saying? I'm an old head in the community, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing for 23 years, so
yeah, it is, man.
Whatever, man. If you need help, just hit me up.
And this will be an ongoing thing, man. I mean, we definitely want to have we need these type of dialogues, like definitely even throughout the year. Once everybody has hands-on time, we'll definitely welcome you back. We can give our opinions on it. So we gotta do these things. And OS, if y'all are listening, I know the only guy I really know is Millennium. I know Steve, but anybody who's on Operation Sports, don't be so closed-minded, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game that we all trying to get better. So I don't even understand the personal. I don't get it. I really don't understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that it wasn't Millennium.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Millennium, cool.
Yeah. But everybody knows Neff. Everybody knows Kia. So y'all already following them. If you're not, following Madden Universe, definitely do that. And when he gets back on YouTube, do that as well. And don't be afraid to have dialogue with other communities. Not cussing them, not telling them why they're wrong, but find out why they think that way. Because I'm pretty sure some people learned some things tonight. And it's ironic that I've seen multiple people in the chat saying this is probably the best episode ever. Ain't that funny? And then you got competitive and sim together. So that's going to do it, guys. We want to thank everybody for coming through. And I'm going to go ahead and start ejecting. I don't know why they call it eject. It makes it sound so cruel, but I'm going to start ejecting people off of the show.
All right, thanks for having me.
Can close out.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Relly, man. We appreciate you coming through, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Absolutely, bro.
Likewise.
And Neff, you already know what it is, man. So,
Hey,
already. Oh, man, I just ejected him. He was talking. My bad, Neff. But, yeah, we got to get out of here, man. It's almost 10:30, and we'll save some of those other topics for next week. It was a good question they had today as far as can online franchise be a selling point. I definitely want to dive into that. So maybe we'll go ahead and push that to next week. Yeah. And I'm just going to do the quick shake of the head, Smitty, as far as Reuben Foster. Come on, brother. Failing the drug test at the combine. Listen, man, I'm going to say that for next week too, but I'm going to just let y'all know.
Especially since that will be the draft.
Yeah.
When it's next week. So
what are these dudes thinking? And for any of you guys who didn't see Terrible Towel Tuesday when I talked about Sinclair's ghosting at the airport with a pistol in your carry-on bag with bullets, what are you doing? Didn't get arrested, but I just don't understand it, man. But we'll dive into that next week. We got to run. Appreciate it, guys. Oh, Smitty, I got to say this. How the Cavs won the game. Lord have mercy. I can't wait to see those highlights, man. I cannot wait to see it. But thank everybody for coming out. Moral to the story, there is a way that we can all coexist. I think we all learned that, there's possibilities where maybe we all have our own different arena, but also at the same time, make the game as a whole more authentic. And then if you're going to have settings and things of that nature, give everybody the ability to customize their game the way they want to. And if you're going to do something like that, don't tell us where we're playing at. I definitely love the NHL setup where you pick in your experience, but maybe, I would love to see those names be in the background. I don't know I'm on pro. Maybe that's how I play. But I've set up my settings and the game is playing accordingly based on how, my skill level, so to speak. So, Smitty, you got anything else, man, before we wrap it up here? Going once, going twice. I think Smitty had to step away, guys. So I'll go ahead and close it there. Thank y'all for coming out. We'll catch you guys next week, and let's get ready for the NFL draft. All right, that's going to do it. Peace.